Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning into the Blue to Green podcast. I'm your host, AJ. On today's episode, I sat down with Chef Turtle from Chef Turtle's Infusion Kitchen. He's an award-winning cannabis chef and patient educator here in Arizona. This episode was filmed on Friday the 7th, and it is now Monday the 10th. And since having sat down with him, I attended one of his basic infusion courses. I just wanted to provide the viewers with some personal experience about his classes, and I have to say he's an amazing instructor. He explained everything very thoroughly in a very digestible manner, and he answered all of my questions. I was always that kid in the back of the class that kept raising their hand at the bell, and everybody wanted to leave. But anyways, I digress. He clearly has a very, very vast knowledge of what he's teaching about the information of infusion, but he's also extremely passionate about what it is he's doing. He's very professional in his craft, and I truly enjoy the class. If you have been wanting to learn how to do basic infusions, about how to make edibles, edibles to make your own medicine and all that good stuff, I cannot recommend Chef Turtle higher. He can be found on YouTube and Instagram at Chef Turtle 420 and Chef Turtle's Infused Kitchens on YouTube, and he posts a ton of videos on his YouTube regarding how to do he gives recipes, he gives instructions on how to, and answers basic questions. So thank you very much for tuning in. Let me know what you think. I can be reached at bluetogreenpodcast@gmail.com and on Instagram at bluetogreen.officialpodcast. So thank you very much, everyone. Take care.
And welcome to Blue to Green.
I'm your host, AJ, with Chef Turtle. How are you, dude?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I'm good, man. Make sure everything looks good. Oh, you look beautiful. Perfect. You look beautiful. Thank you for coming on the show.
Of course.
I sincerely appreciate it. And we're here to just talk. Here to talk about who you are, what you're doing, what your role is in the cannabis community, and everything else in between.
Sounds good to me.
Cheers. Thanks for coming on, brother.
Cheers.
It's only water. It's 10 in the morning.
That's my coffee right there.
So let's talk to me. Tell me about you.
So I'm Chef Turtle. I started at the Mint Cafe, and now I teach cannabis infusion workshops. I'm a cannabis infusion consultant. I have a infusion guide and cookbook dropping in February.
That's
and
awesome,
I also have an infusion culinary show on YouTube called Chef Turtle's Infusion Kitchen.
Let's start at the very beginning. Yeah, we're both coughing here. Let's start at the very beginning. Where'd you grow up?
I'm out here.
Okay. You're a native?
Yes and no. I was born in California, out in Santa Maria. Wow. That joint got me a little bit good. I was born out in Cali, and then we moved out here when I was about 3. So I was raised pretty much out here.
You're okay. I'm a native, and us Arizona natives are sensitive about it. So you're close to a native. Yeah. Same with my wife. She's same thing about 3 years old. I'm like, well, you're still not a native. So we're protective of our home state.
I get it.
Where'd you grow up out here?
Phoenix, and then Scottsdale as well with my grandma.
Nice. What did you go to high school up there?
I went to elementary school in Scottsdale, and then middle school, Deer Valley Middle School.
Okay.
And then Barry Goldwater and Apollo.
Okay. Nice.
So
what made you? How'd you become a chef? What'd you do for that process?
I was in college at the moment at GCC, and one of my teachers, my English teacher actually, said that I would probably be better with something more hands-on.
Okay.
For schooling.
Did you take that as an insult or
no,
as a compliment?
Honestly, no. I was just having a rough time in my English class.
Gotcha.
And I was very good with all my hands-on activities and classes, so she had recommended that, and I transitioned to Phoenix College for Culinary, and haven't looked back.
Nice. Very cool.
So, plus I was already cooking at that time anyway for a side job.
What led you to Culinary? What took you down that, right? Were you cooking as a kid?
My family has been cooking since I was 5 years old.
Okay.
Well, that was my first meal that I cooked on my own, I should say, at 5. Big with baking with my grandma. Gotcha. My grandpa was from Italy, so we did a lot of homemade pastas and things. So it was kind of in my blood. Gotcha.
No, I have Italian heritage as well, and I'm a cook. I love to cook. Yeah. I'm not a cook. I enjoy cooking as just for the family and all that type of
You're a family cook right there.
Exactly.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Good home cooked meals.
Amen.
I love them.
I can't even stand eating out anymore.
I rarely do unless I'm on the road all day. I'm like, I have to, but I'll go get a sandwich or something like that.
Yep. I cook a better steak than most of your average steakhouses. You know what I mean?
I don't doubt that.
So it's why would I go out somewhere when I can I can buy whatever for $16 as opposed to spending $45 at the Keg or whatever, which makes good food and it's fun to go out every once in a while. But I
fun
digress.
to treat yourself, but
right?
Cooking at home, you get that love that you put in it and everything else.
Where did you, when you became a chef, what was your first place you worked at?
Well, I wouldn't say chef at that point. I did Sonic Drive-In, and then I moved to Subway.
Okay.
And then it was, Polano's, so it was a sports bar.
Okay.
And then Ralph's Pizzeria. No, Ralph's Pizzeria, then Polano's.
Okay.
And then I just started working up my way up in different areas. I've done Outback Steakhouse.
Okay.
I've done, Black Bear Diner. I've done catering events with Phoenix International Raceway.
Okay.
Phoenix International Raceway, and then the old Firebird Raceway for the drags. I've catered those through an outsourced company.
Okay.
And then I've worked with Ryan's Catering, which is the biggest catering company in Arizona, a few times for outsourced jobs. I've done resorts. I've done mom and pop places, and I left a barbecue kitchen to start working in the industry.
Okay. So, and you also worked at the Mint for a little bit.
Yes, that's where I got my start, actually. Okay. I came in there and
in the cannabis cooking? Gotcha.
Yeah, that was my first cannabis kitchen that I ever got to work in.
Now, I'm going to make an assumption here and say that when you started working for the Mint, that wasn't your first time you used cannabis.
No, not at all. And not my first time I've infused either. Actually, that's one of the reasons they hired me, is because I had already had my own infusions that I did at home.
Okay.
I could tell you the math and get a good gauge on what the dosing was straight out the gate. And then my 2 interviews that I had to make different products that were not infused.
Gotcha.
But I had to show them how to make them and then tell them how I would infuse each product. So I did 2 meats, a cold side, and then a baked good. So I could show them I'm very well rounded. And then the second one, I did a vegan meat dish.
Okay, and it shows you're even more well-rounded that you can make vegan food.
Yes.
I've had the personal privilege of having your food a couple of times, and there's 2 things I want to say. Is that 1, it's fucking amazing and tastes delicious, but 2, the infusion was at a level that you didn't knock my socks off.
That's not the point for that. You want to get medicated, relaxed, but you also want to be functional.
It's the first time now, I personally use cannabis for my back pain, and it's the first time, though, that I had no back pain. Like whenever I medicate, it takes it down a bunch of notches, but I'm not joking. I was able to completely relax enough, and also there might have been pain, but I just didn't give a shit because I was feeling all right. So, but it was at the perfect level. It was just at the perfect level. I'm gonna sit here and do nothing and just relax and not be in pain. And for people who are in chronic pain, getting 5 minutes of relief is a fucking miracle in and of itself.
I agree with that. I've got 12 holes in each knee. I've had 2 knee surgeries. I've got a compressed disc in my lower back, and I've got tendonitis and arthritis in my right shoulder.
See, when I start hearing stories like that, I'm like, you know what? My back pain's fine. I'm good.
Right?
I don't want to complain about that.
Oh yeah, cannabis saved my life with that, and I don't use pharmaceuticals for my pain, and I'm able to do everything that you see me do all over the board.
Yep. So, what was your first introduction to cannabis? The statute of limitations is up.
It's
legal in the state of Arizona now.
We weren't drug dealers. We were bootleggers now that it's become legal. No, I tried cannabis when I was, I think, 12 or 13.
Okay.
And it wasn't like a regular thing. It was just met up with some friends, smoked a blunt or a joint, had a little fun in that. And that's kind of where everything started to roll.
Okay.
And then probably 16, 17, I would bake some stuff with it. Grab some weed, grind it up, throw it in your mixes.
You started that young baking.
Yeah. Nice. Oh, yeah. I was baking with my family since I was a kid, so it was just, well, if I can do this, let me try this.
Did you have any idea what you were doing in the beginning?
No.
Okay.
Like I said, I just ground it up, threw it in the batter, and hoped for the best.
Gotcha.
It tasted gross, but
I've heard that.
Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't.
And now we have moved to the future of infusing, which is understanding how to do the extractions, which is all of this is the stuff that you teach.
Yes.
Correct.
I teach full plant spectrum infusions because you get the best medical benefit from it, and you're getting to be able to be strain specific with each of your own infusions at home.
Okay. That's awesome.
And with that, you get to learn butter, oil, heavy cream, sugar, honey, alternative sugar for diabetics,
Okay.
seasonings, and flour. And the
Okay.
flour can be gluten-free flour, cake flour, pastry flour, whatever kind of flour you want. It's versatile.
That's awesome.
And then I teach you how to do RSO, green and yellow dragon extractions.
What does that mean?
So a green and yellow dragon extraction, one is activated when you're pulling the cannabinoids out, one is not activated, and you would activate that one during infusion process.
Like during the decarboxylation of it?
No, you wouldn't even decarb it for the green dragon. That would be for the yellow dragon.
Okay.
So that would activate everything.
Gotcha.
With the green dragon, you're either going to be cooking it down and activating everything through that process when you're making RSO, or you're going to be activating it through your cooking with sugar.
Okay. Interesting. It's a lot further
It's
than
fun science.
Right? It is science. It's better. We've gone a long ways from just
throwing it in the batch.
Throw it in the batch and hoping for the best. So I'm just making sure everything's still good.
Oh, you're good.
1 second. I know it's a little annoying, but I just want to make sure we're not missing anything. We're good. So you start cooking at 16, 17 and start infusing at 16, 17 years old. So you're smoking weed. Are you just smoking it just for fun?
Yeah, it was just for fun. Weekends,
Gotcha.
after school, once in a while when I ran into some friends.
How was the quality? Dirt. It was
If
dirt.
you know, back then the Reggies and all that, we were picking seeds out, but it did what it did.
Right? It worked.
Give you a headache sometimes, depending on how it was packaged.
I do remember, because I admitted that even when I went for my law enforcement career, I even admitted the fact that I used cannabis and tried when I was in my teens. And I do remember, though, like thinking back then and what I saw and experienced then to what it is now. I mean, it was all stems and seeds.
Yep.
Like it was all stems and seeds.
Brickweed.
Yeah. So yeah, we've gone a long way. And then in my law enforcement career, 90% of what I saw was brick.
Okay.
And 90% of it was the terrible crap.
I was wondering on that.
Yeah. It was a very high percentage of not good weed. And then every once in a while, I told the story before though, a kid would have like a gram of some BC bud. You know, he just picked it up from the dealer and was going home and just so happened to get stopped and pulled over for it. Not for it, but found with it. And we would take it out. They would always put it in like a medicine jar.
Yep.
So they'd pull it open and all was like, whoa. Look at the frost on it. Oh my God. We had no idea what the fuck we were looking at. Now I know it's trichomes and pistils and all that stuff. You know, so
right.
But back then it was, and again, I'm not a grower, but I just have a little bit of an understanding. But oh my God, it was like amazing. You're like, well, dude, where did you get this stuff? Like, oh my God, we never see stuff this good.
I found great story. I was skating home I think I was 15 or 16, and I found a bag on the road, and I was smoking brickweed all the time. And it was just bright orange, fully sealed up and everything, but just bright orange. So I picked it up, skated home, and it was just some beautiful chronic.
Nice.
And I remember smoking it, and everything slowed down. And then I watched my pipe after the third bowl just roll off my lap and shatter. And it looked like it was like in slow motion.
That's probably the first time you'd ever actually gotten high, like really high.
That was probably the highest I had gotten since I started smoking. I was just so amazed, like, what is going on? This is awesome.
That's hilarious. And now that's probably just like, not bottom grade stuff, but mid grade stuff.
Yeah. What I found that it would probably be around the mid aspect because it was more hairy than frosty.
Gotcha.
And I don't have anything to compare it to from back then to now in a sense.
That's funny.
It was the best tasting stuff I had at that point.
You can sell that shit for a lot. Not that I'm condoning drug dealing in any way, shape, or form. So, but yeah, no, like shit, bootleg. It's bootlegging now, not drug dealing.
Right.
That's
because
funny.
now it's legal, just like alcohol when it was banned illegal.
I hadn't even heard that terminology until you just said that. That's funny.
Heck yeah.
So, moving forward, you start working at the mint, and now you've branched off and you're doing your own thing.
Yeah, I stepped away from them, and I started teaching.
Okay.
So the state kind of forced me out a little bit. Due to a couple things I had in my past. Fine. The mint backed me on everything. They were completely supportive of me and everything because I had already gone through all of the back steps to be able to get into the industry.
Okay.
And I misread something, so the state
Gotcha.
ended up taking my DA card away.
Gotcha.
Because I was limited for a 10-year ban.
Oh, okay.
but it's okay. I kept myself in the industry, and
That's awesome.
because I had so many patients at the Mint asking me questions I could not answer because of the contract until I was gone from them. I could only give them so much information, and I felt bad about that. So when I left, it was like, let's start teaching. I can't get hired at any more dispensaries. I can't get my DA card. How can I stay in this industry and be able to help the patients? Because that's what I want to do. So I started my Chef Turtle's Infusion Consulting. There it is.
Yeah, right. Told you something will happen. There will be something. Some
And
interruption.
it's all
I
good.
didn't know what that was. Yeah, screw it.
And after that, it was just teaching workshops.
So, is there anybody doing that? Was there anybody teaching? Because I haven't heard of anybody or anything like that.
At that time, I had never heard of anybody teaching cannabis infusion workshops. I've heard of CBD consultants, endocannabinoid teachers, and those kind of things, but not just straight infusion classes.
Okay.
Over the past 2 years, I have found a few different people in different states that do it, and then a couple people out here that do a form of it, but they do more of a rounded aspect, the endocannabinoid system, the breakdown of THC and CBD and what they do for affection in the body, and then a little bit of infusion, where my class is just based on infusions and all the base products and how to do it, how to dose, how to get your gauge loss, so you don't have to get it tested for your home consumption, obviously, but you can get very close to it.
Okay, all right.
When I first started, I brought my stuff to Desert Valley Testing so I could get my methods tested, just to make sure I was doing it correctly before I started going, hey, I'm teaching everybody. Well, let me show you.
So you're not telling people it's only 10 milligrams and it's actually 100 milligrams and knocking them off their socks. Gotcha.
And you're a very big witness on that one. So
yes.
You've been able to gauge it off of what I've
totally.
said.
Yeah, totally.
So that's one of the things I like to pride myself on, because people over-medicate their edibles and then they hand them out to friends. Here's a gift. And that's great. I mean, giving gifts to friends to help medicate, that's awesome. But know what you're giving them. If you're telling them it's 50 and it's 150, they could have a bad issue. Okay, it's 50. I can eat this and I can still go run my day. Then they get behind the wheel, they drive down the road, and all of a sudden, bam, it hits them even harder, and something bad happens. So
I could honestly see somebody being liable. Also, like I could see somebody if that insurance agencies or attorneys could come after that.
That one person that gifted it to them and wrongly dosed.
I could totally see the liability.
So that's why I'm very big on know what you're dosing. If somebody hands me an edible and they don't know it, I'll eat it at home.
Right.
So I know I'm going to be safe. But if let's say you're a company and I know for a fact you get your stuff tested and it's there, I'll try it on site.
Right. Yeah.
Just because I know it's a very low dose, it'll get rid of the pain that I'm dealing with, and it won't affect my mind in really any way. It's just like taking an aspirin for me.
This is again, me having the law enforcement background, this is something that I'm trying to teach and explain the officers that I run into. My friends that are cops, they still think, it's that smoking weed and sitting around going, yeah, man, like let's watch whatever. And I'm sitting going, no, when you use it yes, you can totally do that. You can get high and get stoned, stay at your house. And again, since it's become recreational here in Arizona, I don't ever want to sound as though I don't give a shit about recreational. It's not at all what I'm saying. I prefer the medical side simply because of it helps me throughout my day. I'm not smoking it just to get high.
Right.
I'm using it to medicate throughout the day. And when you understand your dosing, and you can start like with a little 5 milligram, and that's your medicine, that's your aspirin for the day, and it doesn't make you impaired.
Exactly.
That's the part that is very difficult for law enforcement to understand, is that it's the same as when you treat Advil as medicine, it's medicine.
Yep.
You can overdose on Advil.
Oh yeah.
You're going to feel like shit.
You're going to not have a good time.
Right. With cannabis, I can take a 5 milligram edible, and it will literally relax my back just a little bit and my pain just a little bit, and I'm more functional.
Yeah.
I'm not impaired in any way, shape, or form. But until the science community and law enforcement, everybody catches up, that's a very difficult thing for them to understand. It's like just because you used cannabis doesn't mean you're stoned.
Correct.
Doesn't mean you're high.
Exactly.
At all.
So, and everybody's different. Everybody's endocannabinoid system is kind of made up a little bit different. So what affects me perfectly might not touch you or might put you way over the edge. So I've got patients that take 5 milligrams of THC at a time. I've got patients that do 150 milligrams. Both of them fully functional. Both of them fully compliant, coherent, everything. But two different ends of the spectrum, high dose and low dose. And then you've got someone like me. I take about 20 milligrams. It kills all my pain. I can go. I'm focused. I'm ready to do what I have to do, and there's no issues.
Yeah, you're not sitting around being lazy. So, I mean, we can get to that point at the end of the night.
But,
that's
I mean,
fine.
on the responsible end, it's not preferred by people like us. But on a day you're having a day off and you just want to relax, watch movies, yeah, go for it. I'm not going anywhere. I'm in my own home. I'm safe.
Yep.
I'm going to take a little bit extra to get that full relaxation and enjoy this movie.
That's the thing, is that it's completely acceptable for someone on their Saturday in the summertime, 10 o'clock in the morning, go out to the pool and start cracking open beers and drinking and having a good time. It's no different.
Exactly.
Except for the fact that this one, weed is not poisoning you.
Yeah.
So there's the difference.
That is very true.
Yeah. So that's again part of the stigma that I'm trying to show, is that like you're a successful dude teaching people, and you smoke weed. Yep. And you use cannabis and you eat it and you ingest it and all that stuff. So
I go all forms of methods because I also like to test them out. Like I have an uplift tincture that's a CBD and CBG tincture, so there's no psychotropics in it. But I'll take that each morning, about 15 milligrams, especially if I'm having a little bit of anxiety or something, and it'll just relax everything, bump up the mood level, and then just keep me going.
I have a friend of mine that I can't disclose what he does. He is not a cop, but he came to me. He was like, "Going, I want to try CBD because he's anxiety for his entire life." And he tried. I told him where to go. I sent him to Hempful Farms.
Awesome.
And I sent him to Hempful Farms also because they had really good testing. They had really good COAs on their website. And I was like, this one you can use without any issues regarding THC. And since that was probably 10 weeks ago, and he told me, he goes, I will never not use CBD. He goes, he says, my anxiety has gone from an 8 to a 3.
Yes.
I know,
love hearing that. I love hearing that.
And that's all I want. I don't want people on pharmaceuticals when you don't have to be.
Right.
When you can manage things without pharmaceuticals, that's the number one thing I want to help people with as well.
Exactly. And don't get me wrong. If you just got out of surgery and you need something extremely strong just for that moment, use what you got to use.
100%.
But be careful because those are very and highly addictive. I've had 2 knee surgeries myself, and I've sadly been down that road. It's not fun. So just be careful and use it intelligently.
Yes. But I agree with what you said. I was using it exactly as prescribed when I had a period of time where I was literally immobilized for almost 6 weeks. Oh, I mean, like could not walk, could not move, could not get up. It was an emergency. This is when my back fully exploded, and I was using the pharmaceuticals as prescribed. And then the next day after surgery, when I didn't need them anymore because I was actually no longer in that emergent state, I could feel myself like kind of shaking.
Being sick, detoxing.
Oh, shit, yeah. And I was using it exactly as prescribed. And I have an addictive personality. Drug and alcohol abuse is in my family history. So I very easily could go down that path. And it was but that's the problem. They're so powerful. They're so powerful. And never once since I've used cannabis as medicine have I been like that.
Right.
In any way, shape, or form.
So I agree with that. And that's why I always say cannabis saved my life.
Amen. I've said that as well. So do you use it as medication now?
I use it as medicine and almost strictly medicine. There are days I'll have a little bit of relaxation time, as I call it. But on a regular basis, it's my medicine, and that's the end of it for that.
You've said a couple times you've got holes in your knees.
Yes, I have. After surgery, I have 12. It's a spider web, basically. I've had 2 microfractures, 1 on each knee. So in the beginning, they were dime-size holes. Then they went in and broke my knees. Okay. 2 separate surgeries. And then when they healed up as a spider web. So they're 12 holes, just smaller now.
From were you injured?
I've dislocated my knees, skateboarding, dirt biking, extreme sports, all kinds of stuff.
Gotcha.
So
gotcha.
I've dislocated my shoulders, all kinds of stuff.
Getting old and having old injuries sucks.
Oh, yes. But I'm going to be doing skydiving this year. Okay. So I'm in strength training, and I have been. I was told after my surgeries I would never do hiking, backpacking, skating, all this stuff again. I have done a 30-mile round-trip backpacking trip since my surgeries. I've done a 12.5-mile round trip, 4-day backpacking trip. I've skated, surfed, all kinds of stuff since my surgeries due to strength training, eating right, and then cannabis maintaining pain levels and other aspects.
I'm jealous because I'm dealing with 2 herniated discs at the moment, and it's the sort of thing where it goes again. It's yeah, no, I can't have any weight bearing on me. I do strength training and physical therapy to support my body so that it takes the pressure and the pain off of the injury, so that I can use the strength and not hurt my injury any further. But I still can't do any weight bearing, so I can't, like, even picking up my kid hurts because I put up that weight on my upper body and it sinks down and it causes pain. So I'm jealous that you can backpack.
Have you ever tried yoga for stretching everything out and strength training?
Yes.
Okay.
And I do yoga to the limit. I'm not consistent with it. So
that's the problem.
Right.
Consistency is key.
Yes. I do have to give a shout out to the gym that I go to, Diesel Muscle. I'm wearing their hat right now.
Oh, I see that. Yeah. It's on the other side.
Yes. But because of the training that I've received there, it's shown me how to. I used to stand with like my butt sticking out because it used to take the pain away. And then my physical therapist was talking to me. She said, no, do this, do that, strengthen, tighten this, hold that. And it put my body back into proper posture. And it took the pressure off of that for just a little bit. It's like, oh, that feels so much better. And then, you go back to relax, and then it was just training my body how to respond and how to work and all that stuff. And that's made a huge difference in my life, along with using cannabis so I can be as functional as possible.
Right.
I just saw my surgeon a couple of weeks ago, and he's like, no, we're gonna cut you open. Oh. So he's looking into a couple things. I've already had one failed surgery. So I've already had one failed surgery for exactly what I have, 2 herniated discs. So
this one's going to be the correct one.
We'll see.
Fingers crossed for you, brother.
We'll see what happens. But that's why I use cannabis, is because I've got sciatica down my legs every single day. Like I said, when I hear about injuries like yours, I'm like, I'm good. My injuries aren't that bad.
Compared to some of my friends, I am a walking perfection compared to them. I've got a buddy that's got 2 rods through his back. Okay. And he's still fully functional, uses cannabis, but he's all day long. I've got another buddy that's got 2 chunks of his spine missing in the back of his neck and a couple other injuries from a car accident.
Okay.
He uses only RSO.
Okay.
And maintains everything. No pharmaceuticals, no nothing.
That's
and
awesome.
That to me is impressive because he deals with like a level I don't want to imagine. So those kind of stories make me happy.
I know, yeah. It's like it could always be worse.
Oh, yeah.
It could always be worse. I'm very thankful for that.
Right.
So back to you. And now here we're back. No, I'm just kidding. So you start teaching these classes. You start branching out on your own and going from there. And so what is it that you're wanting to do in the community? What's your goal? What's your function in life?
I've got a few of them. My biggest goal is to help the patients, give back to the patients, because at the end of the day, I'm just a patient.
Yeah.
I'm nothing more, nothing less. I'm just a patient like everyone else. I just have a little bit more knowledge than some to help myself, so let me pass that knowledge to everyone else so they can do it as well.
Gotcha.
I'm on a very tight budget and usually always have been. So being able to make my own infusions, make my own edibles, I don't have to purchase them from a store at a 300% markup.
Right.
And on top of that, I don't have to do just distillate edibles.
Okay.
About a good high percentage of edibles in dispensaries are all made with distillate. Now, granted, it's easy to do the quality control and make sure everything is exact every single time in comparison to doing a full spectrum or a full plant infusion. But you get better medical benefits from the full plant instead of just the distillate, which is 1 cannabinoid.
And while, yes, you do, sometimes for that super high pain, you do need the THC, the high THC content. But I prefer flower.
Oh, yeah.
Because I get everything.
And on top of that, you're getting CBD or CBG, something that's going to help regulate your endocannabinoid system, not just a high dose of THC. And a lot of people will complain, oh, I got really sick, my body heated up, I got nauseous, or I had to go to the bathroom a lot and it ran through me. That's because you're ingesting and trying to absorb just a high dose of 1 cannabinoid, which is the psychotropic cannabinoid THC. You don't have any form of like CBD to help your endocannabinoid system regulate how the absorption is going. So it's too much at once. It's like, as they say in OD, you have too much coming in, so your body's trying to expel it one way or the other. It doesn't matter. It's getting rid of it. You're getting really hot or for some reason, well, your body's trying to burn off everything that's excess because it can't absorb it fast enough. And that's why there's a lot of friends of mine and people I know, patients that have issues with distillate edibles. They don't work for them because it runs through them. It'll hit them way too hard. It makes them sick. The list kind of goes on and on.
I have experienced all of those symptoms that you just stated. See, now that's the part of that's an overdose on cannabis. That's an overdose.
Yep.
That's what an overdose looks like on cannabis.
Yep.
You get a little sick, and then once your body expels it. So I'm scared of certain edibles. Every single time I use edibles, I enjoy them, but I'm scared of them because I've had those experiences. And there's no coming down.
Yes, there is.
Until right. But I'm saying, but once you're on that rise, it's like, oh shit.
Hold on though. Take a high dose of CBD.
Okay.
Or better yet, get yourself a pack of Undo.
Oh, I have used that product one time.
I call it a CBD safety or a cannabis safety net. If you ever get too high, take a high dose of CBD or a pack of Undo. Within 15 to 20 minutes, it will help regulate everything and bring you back down to a normal level. What the CBD is doing is it's bringing your endocannabinoid system back down to a homeostasis level, so it can regulate the absorption of all the other cannabinoids and how they're being processed in there.
Gotcha. When I have, and on occasion, sometimes it does happen, sometimes I try a new strain. And even when I try a new strain, it's too much for my body and I get sick and I usually end up vomiting. That's just what my body does every time. But then I feel fine. After that, like, oh, I'm good to go.
It's expelling what it can't use, and then you're back to normal in a sense.
Interesting. I didn't think about that, of why your body was doing what it was doing.
Yep.
Very interesting.
And again, that's the worst case scenario that you're going to deal with. Now, for the most part, there are those very special cases. There are a very small percentage, but they're actually allergic to cannabis. And what I mean by that is, not all of them can smoke it, but they can ingest edibles.
Okay.
Some of them can't touch the actual plant because they'll break out.
Yeah, I have a friend who's like that.
So I've dealt with a lot of patients like that they can't touch it, but they can smoke it.
Interesting.
Or they can't smoke it, but they can ingest it.
Okay.
So just different manners of allergies, I guess you would say.
Interesting. I didn't, and I do have a friend of mine that has said that she's allergic to it. And I'm like, yeah, but I mean, I get being allergic to a plant. I said, you're probably not allergic to THC and CBD. You're probably allergic, and again, I'm speculating here, to something else on the plant.
And that's usually my speculation with things until you break everything down on a controlled study to find out exactly what is activating it, the allergy. You won't really know. It's just a guess. But there's also a small percentage of the community that CBD is psychotropic for them.
Really?
It'll give them a little bit of a high.
Okay.
Like I said, very small percentage, like probably 1, maybe 2% at most. But from all my research, yeah.
I did try, a friend of mine uses edibles only, and she was using a certain edible, CBD capsule. She uses a lot of really high CBD strains, and she texted me and she says, AJ, she says, I thought CBD wasn't supposed to get you high. Like, it's not. I said, you can feel relaxed. Like, I've definitely had some CBDs where you're like, oh, just super mellow, where it can almost feel as though you're getting the psychotropic effects. But she goes, no, she says, I swear to you, this pill is making me high, and it's 100% CBD. And I tried it. She gave me, I don't know if I want to say the brand or not. It was fantastic though. It was awesome. I wasn't high, but
you were just so relaxed that you felt like you were just on that euphoric plane because your entire body was working perfectly at that point.
It was very, very nice. I was like, well, this is the best CBD product I've ever used. So
rock on.
I know, right? I'll show you what it is afterwards.
Please do.
I don't want to knock any brands or anything like that.
No, but I'm curious on that.
Yeah, it was pretty damn good though. What is it that you specialize in teaching? You said the infusion part.
For the base products, so your butters, oils, heavy creams, sugars, and those kind of things for all your recipes, and everything would be versatile. So if you're vegan, you can find something out of all those recipes you can use in your recipes that's infused. Gluten-free, you can find an infusion in my class that you can use in all of your recipes.
Okay, gotcha.
And that's pretty much where I gear it for just the base to simplify everything for patients. Not everybody wants to go in depth and all the science. They want to know how to do it, how to properly dose themselves, and that's pretty much it. Well,
and I guess I actually wasn't understanding, but yeah, now I understand what you're saying about the bases. Everything is made with those foundations. Mm-hmm. Every food is made with those foundations, so you're just putting it into those. Then you don't have to dose the individual meal. So everything is kind of just spread out evenly.
Exactly.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
So, and then I have a cooking show on YouTube that helps show all the base products being put into everyday recipes, and you don't have to change up much. If you're doing baking, I recommend bringing the temperature down.
Okay.
So, like my cookies and brownies, I do between 300 and 330.
Now, when you're infusing the product, I'm assuming you're teaching how to decarboxylate it first, then add that to the base.
Depending
products?
on the infusion I'm doing, yes.
Okay.
Some infusions I won't actually decarboxylate prior to.
Okay.
I will do the activation during the infusion, and it would just be a longevity of cooking.
Okay.
With time and temperature control.
Gotcha. Interesting. Gotcha. I'm trying to.
Oh, you're good.
Process this as I go. All right.
And you'll be here Monday, right?
Yes, I'll be at the class on Monday.
And then we've got another group workshop at Blaze Lounge and Entertainment on the 31st as well. So 10 spots will be available there.
You're gonna put some pressure on me to get this released in like 24 hours. Okay, I gotcha.
No, you can release it whenever.
I'm just kidding. No, I gotcha. That's awesome though. No, my wife just got me a cooking book, Cooking with Edibles, and I was like, this is perfect because I'm going to the class and learning how to do all this stuff.
Perfect.
So,
and I teach all walks. If you're brand new learning, I'm always there. And if you're a veteran in it, but you just want to hone your skills, check to make sure you're doing it correctly, or add some more knowledge, I'm all angles.
How did you learn to start doing the infusion process? What was your gateway to that?
16, throwing stuff in there.
That was it?
But then over time, it was learning how to do the butters. So a buddy of mine, he was an older gentleman back in my early 20s, and he had, I forget what it was called. I think it was the AK-47 Hippie Guide to Infused Butter.
Okay.
It was just an old school hippie cookbook.
Gotcha.
But that's how I started learning how to do the butters and oils, and then figuring out the dosage and everything else. I started going online doing research for the math equations to figure it out because I didn't know where to get testing or any of that.
Gotcha.
And by that point, it was medical. So
I was just going to ask at the time that you started cooking, though, could you even take that anywhere and get it tested?
I couldn't. Once I figured out the dosing aspects and the equations, that's when it was probably 2012, 2013. So it had just become medical, but it was still hush hush on a lot of angles, a lot of gray areas back then. Mm-hmm. So it was just for me learning how to do it myself so I could do it on a budget friendly basis. And now that I've had everything tested and all my stuff fact checked and researched and everything else, I want to be able to get all that info to the patients, which is why I've got a cookbook and an infusion guide and cookbook dropping. Okay. So it'll give you all the information from the workshops, terpene breakdowns, strain specific, gauge loss, how to properly dose, portion cupping, and then recipes as well from my YouTube.
Nice.
So
that's exciting.
It'll be volume 1.
Nice. And when does that drop?
Sometime in February. Okay. I'm dealing with the publishers right now. I'm getting it published through Fulton Books.
Okay.
And I'm just waiting on one more email so I can confirm and then get my sample books and give them the A-OK so they can put it on Amazon and barnesandnoble.com.
Very cool. That's exciting, dude.
And it'll be under $20.
You'll be published.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Budget friendly too. Nice. It'll be under $20. I want to say it'll be under 15, but don't quote me on that yet. But it'll all be in color and everything else.
Very cool. That's badass, man. That's
Thank you. Cool. So that's my next adventure right now that I'm getting in.
Very cool. That's very exciting.
So
I'll buy one. I want a signed copy.
You got it. The first signed copy, actually, the first copy is going to be going to Chef Renee.
Okay.
She is the head chef for Cheech's Chews.
Okay. Nice.
So all y'all have heard of Cheech and Chong.
Oh, of course.
He's got his own edible company. And my friend Chef Renee is the head chef for that company.
That's awesome.
So she's going to actually get the first signed copy because she had requested it many, many months ago. That's
awesome.
So, and then she'll be at Canna Friends this coming up week too.
Really?
Yeah, she'll be doing the catering for this one.
Oh, very cool.
Her and Chef Teresa go usually back and forth.
And Chef Teresa is
She's with Soul.
Soul, okay. Plant Body Soul?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, Soul Dispensary.
Soul Dispensary.
She teaches different workshops there as well.
Okay.
She's an amazing chef. So.
I have been to Canna Friends and I have had her. I know for a fact I've had her food. I'm just trying to remember which one was which.
Chef Teresa has blonde hair, and then Chef Renee has the brunette.
Okay.
So
Gotcha. Very cool.
And they usually go back and forth with Mita, I think, as well.
Okay.
So
Gotcha. I've only been to one Mita upstairs. I've only been to the one
okay.
for Halloween.
Gotcha.
So I don't.
I try to get upstairs at least every single time when I go, and I've hit almost every single one.
I stay downstairs and mingle for a little bit.
And then you head out.
Then I head out. I'm old.
Oh,
my back hurts.
Don't kick yourself. At least you're there networking, though.
Yes.
And a huge shout out to Arizona Normal for always showing up everywhere and all the work AJ helps them with.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Oh, of course.
I am literally, and I've said it before, and I'm not being. I'm trying to be as humble as possible. I do the least amount of work as everybody else on that board does.
Oh, they do amazing work, but don't count
insane.
yourself out either.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. Everybody on there works their butt off. And thank you all so much for everything you do coming from me and the community. I appreciate it.
Well, if people don't realize, you were on last year when we did our legislative Zoom sessions, you were on 50 out of 57 of them, or were you on all of them? You might have.
I missed one or two because I had an appointment, I think, but I was on the rest of them.
You were on every single video, and that right there is exactly what we're trying to get, is to show people that it has an impact, and we can't thank you for that. We thank you for the activism and showing your face and all that stuff.
I'll be there again this next month as well.
Yep, it'll be. I don't want to screw up the date, but it's going to happening in February.
Yeah, I still got to get the week, but whatever week it is, I'm not doing anything. My week is cleared, so I can lobby for the patients' rights on that.
That's amazing.
I'll be in every one, and I've just reorganized my office, so it'll be ready.
Then let's make sure also when you're on with your representative as well, that you make sure that that's where it really is impactful, is when you can speak to your representative from your district.
Perfect. Yeah.
So, and this is what we try to explain to people, because a lot of people still don't realize what Arizona Normal is. So, and it's trying to explain to them what we do and how we speak for the patients and speak for the not just patients. We also speak for the recreational side. They said, I don't ever want to sound like I don't care about the rec side, because I do care. Well,
even people in the rec are patients in my eyes too.
They're using it for something else.
A lot of them do.
Yep.
But some of them won't get their card because of they don't want to lose their guns or some reason on those aspects, because they don't read everything or back and forth kind of a thing. Right. So they don't want to disclose anything with that. So they just don't get their card, and they put up with the high taxes and things like that. So that's why I always say there are patients in the rec industry.
It's a very fair point.
But
agree 100%.
In the same sense, I'm there for advocating for everybody's rights for cannabis, because it just needs to be legalized. Let us do what we got to do. It's not going to hurt you. It's not going to kill you. And the teachers will start coming out, teaching people. There will be a lot more educators like myself out there helping, showing patients how to do it properly, how to medicate properly.
And the conservative side of the house and the people who are on that side of the house that I know for a fact do smoke weed will actually be able to come out of the closet and help destigmatize it. Because, again, there's Republican lawmakers that smoke weed.
Oh, I don't doubt that.
I have no doubts, and I'm not going to go any further than that.
Right.
But it's the sort of thing where it's like, once we can destigmatize it and show the world the fact that you are productive, you can be, and it is medicine and it does help. We need to come so much further. And again, on the rec side, on the medicine side, we need it to be treated as medicine.
Yes, and we also need more research with different strains and what they help with, and gear it towards that.
Amen. And the biggest thing that I want personally is I want a breakdown of what is in that weed. I want to know the cannabinoids. I want to know everything.
You want the terpenes, the flavonoids, all that.
I may not fully understand all of it at the moment, but I know that they have different components that do different things. And the biggest thing for me is that as I'm still a lightweight, I tell people. I've only been using as a patient for 3, maybe 4 years. I'm still in the phase where I'm like, okay, I used this strain and it was amazing and I was able to relax and it helped my pain. But then I used this strain and it didn't do anything. Okay, so if I had a full blown list of what was in those two things, I could start, matching
terpene
stuff
makeup
up.
And everything.
Yes, and saying, okay, my body likes these ones, my body doesn't like these ones, and I can start actually matching it.
Yes,
and going down that path.
And the biggest thing I advocate to patients when they're trying to figure out what strains work for them and they don't, look at the terpene makeup.
Okay.
If you're smoking a sativa and you're getting very panicky, high anxiety, look at the terpenes that are in that exact strain. And then if you find a strain that works great for you for your anxiety, bringing everything down, but keeping you focused, look at the terpene makeup in that and then the difference, because the terpenes are going to basically tell your body how everything is going to work. So if you have a high energy, high focus, high sensory terpene in there, that's what it's going to do. It's going to make your mind race. It's going to make you focus, creativity. But some of us can't handle that, and it throws us into a panic attack.
Right.
Whereas you can get indicas that have a certain terpene makeup that couch lock you and knock you out, and you just want to use it for pain, but still be functional.
Right.
There's other indicas that have a different terpene makeup that are great for the pain, but they don't knock you out, and you can still get some focus and energy from it at the same time. So, and then you have your hybrids.
It goes all over the place.
Just look at the terpenes.
But that is the information that I want every single time. And I want an accurate one. And again, I know we're heading to that direction, and it costs more money for testing and all that stuff. But that's why we need it as medicine.
If we could smell it, it would actually stop a lot of issues too.
Okay.
Your nostrils, you're going to smell that cannabis. You're going to get a certain feeling from that smell. It's going to make you feel a little bit racy. It's going to make you feel nice and calm. Like if you smelled lavender, it calms your body. It's nice, relaxing. Same with cannabis. The terpenes and flavonoids, if you smell them and you get a certain reaction, times it by 10, that's what you'll get when you smoke it.
That's good information to know. I didn't realize that. We can't right now because of COVID times.
And that actually upset me when they took that away. I couldn't just go to a dispensary and go, can I smell that? Can I smell that? Because I don't want to down any bud tenders, but there are a lot of them that I have run into over the course of my time with this, that if I ask them, hey, what's a good strain for back pain? Oh, this one's fire. That doesn't tell me anything.
Right.
Is this going to help? Is this going to knock me out? What's it going to do? So I haven't heard of that strain before. And if you're telling an educator that's fire, and I have a little more knowledge than some, what's a patient who doesn't know anything going to do? They're going to buy that strain because they're telling it's fire. They could go home and it could affect them very bad.
Well, and that could also be, and look, let's be honest here. There's some that are bad at their job. There's some that are fantastic at their job.
Oh yeah, and that's in every industry too.
We're not hitting on anybody hard here, but the experiences that I have had has been for when an older person goes into a dispensary and they're speaking to a younger bud tender, and that bud tender's been smoking weed for 10 years. And they're like, hey, I have pain. Well, then the bud tender goes, oh, you need this one. And it's 27% THC. And it's going to, on the flower side, it's going to knock their socks off. It's like, that's the whole wrong way about going about it and showing them, And I have had a lot of times too, where they just don't know what's in the strain. You know what I mean? Or the fact of the matter is, this is my number one pet peeve about the industry. I don't like the names of cannabis. I'm a 40-year-old man. I don't want to go by cat piss.
I was waiting for something like that.
You know what I mean? Or Alaskan Thunderfuck or something like that.
Baby poop.
Right. Like the name Alaskan Thunderfuck is hilarious, and I love the name, and I'm not against that. But I want something that's like Advil. You know what I mean? I don't want it like pharmaceutical way, but back pain 1, back pain 2. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. If it's more scientific. Again, I don't want to sound snooty or snobby or anything like that. But again, I'll take some cat piss. It just doesn't sound good.
Maybe if it was like, if they had sections, this one's great for pain, this one's great for energy and focus, this one's great for... So it was sectioned off in a sense, not just sativa, hybrid, indica.
Right.
And again, I've had some amazing bud tenders that
100%.
Whether they know it or not, they will help you find the answer.
100%.
They'll look up online, they'll grab their testing booklet and bring it out so you can see everything that they've gotten. I've had some amazing, intelligent, knowledgeable bud tenders that even if they didn't know, they'll help me figure it out.
I appreciate the ones that are honest.
The
issue that I have is also the pricing. Like I hate the fact that the fact remains is that well-grown weed hits better, lasts longer, gives you a better feeling, gives you a better high, is better for your body. Where the crap stuff, unfortunately, that's the only way to describe it.
No.
And unfortunately, there's a lot of not good weed right now in Arizona. But I appreciate I appreciate the bud tenders that are honest with me.
Right.
Because I'll give every brand a try. I'm not a snob in any way, shape, or form. I'll try them all. I'll see how it works, because if this one works and has the terpenes you need, you don't know unless you try it.
Exactly. I love testing out different brands.
And I mean, and there's some brands, and I'm not going to bash anyone or name anyone. It was terrible. it was absolutely terrible weed. I mean, it was like after 30 minutes after I had just smoked an entire joint, I had no pain relief in any way, shape, or form. It was dry, it was crumbly, and I was like, and I just spent like $150. So,
yeah, those are rough, and that's as long as you have the percentage on those or the base percentage, you can, instead of smoking it, turn it into an edible, so you can get still a good medical benefit from it. But patients don't. Yeah, they don't process that for the most part. And I've had a lot of patients ask, well, I've got this crap weed. What can I do with it? Infuse it into some butter or some oil, make some homemade brownies, or even, some soup or some stew or something, and eat it that way.
I never even thought about doing that.
So that's one of the reasons I'm doing what I do.
Gotcha.
Like with my show, Chef Turtle's Infusion Kitchen, I do everything from drinks, meats, sweets, and treats. So I've got different, I've got lemonade, a blended lemonade, a margarita. I've got a triple infused smoked brisket, double infused smoked turkey, an infused ribeye.
You had me at smoked.
Cold sides, hot sides,
nice.
Sweets, pies, suckers. I'm dropping a fruit juice gummy recipe.
Okay.
It'll be the first episode this year that'll drop. But it's just fruit juice, infused sugar, and gelatin.
Okay.
So.
Gotcha. So it'll be like a gummy bear.
Mm-hmm. Identical, but without a lot of extra stuff in it.
Right.
So no shelf stabilizers or anything like that. So it's for home stuff. You make a small batch, you eat it throughout the week, then you make another one the next week.
Gotcha.
And you can infuse your sugar that will sit on your counter in a sealed jar for 3 months and be fine. So you can make a big batch of that sugar, and then you already got your infused product, and then you just make your recipe once a week.
Gotcha. I'm thinking about summertime and some nice ice cold sweet tea, and using monk fruit sweetener. That's what I'm thinking about.
Okay,
right now.
We can pull some things off
because I don't eat sugar. So.
I do alternative sugars as well, and I have a recipe for that. So just a different form of infusion, just slightly, but everything works perfect.
Gotcha. So. What's your favorite food to infuse, or what is your specialty?
Specialty, cooking wise, smoking meats is one of my high specialties. I did it for 5 years. I trained under one of the longest running competitors in the meat smoking competition era nationwide. He's known as the Grill King, and he's in the top 15.
Okay.
So for just culinary, smoking meats would be one of my fortes. But I'm well rounded in a lot of aspects, from pastries, baked goods, savory, everything like that. I won't say I'm an expert in any of them, but I'm very well rounded, and I love doing it. The easiest ones for me are probably homemade brownies and cookies, because I do those a lot.
Gotcha.
I like doing everything.
I like food.
Yeah.
So if it's food, I like it.
Exactly. So. We all belong in the kitchen because there's food in that kitchen.
You ever notice though, any party or get together, whatever, where does everybody go?
The food.
To the food.
Oh,
to the kitchen. That's where they all congregate. It's like, no, get out. We're trying to cook here.
But we want to talk and see what you're doing.
Exactly.
And it's just like growing up with my family. We were always in the kitchen, gathered around the counter, cooking, working together, whether it's baking breads and things like that, or sugar cookies for Christmas, or doing some lobsters or something.
Nice.
Always in the kitchen.
Very cool. I grew up, this is when I was a very youngin'. I think he is still around. Next to my next door neighbor was back then a very, very well-known chef in Phoenix. His name is Rasmo Kamnitzer.
Okay.
And he owned Raz's, and then I know that he worked at the Point South. And I see him in the news every once in a while.
Oh, God.
But I remember as a little guy going back into his kitchen at the shop, at Raz's kitchen, the restaurant, and cooking back there with the big pots and the big restaurant. And that's kind of where I fell in love with just cooking for myself. Again, I don't do it on a professional level,
right?
But just for learning how to cook and making sauces and all that and stirring and stuff and all. I remember that as a kid. And that's what sparked my
it was
interest.
that heart. You feel it.
Yeah.
And you can taste it in the food. If you have somebody cooking you and they're angry, or cooking for you and they're angry, you can taste that in the food.
Interesting.
If you have somebody cooking, they're happy during that process. They're putting all that energy and love into that food. It will make it taste better. It'll make you feel a little bit better while you're eating it. It all goes hand in hand.
It's made with love.
Yeah. That's why the term was there. It'll make it taste better.
That's awesome.
It's a weird concept, but if you start looking at who's cooking your food and then how it's tasting and affecting you in a sense, not necessarily edibles.
Understood.
Because you could eat food and be like, at the end, or you could be,
Right.
yeah, I'm all happy. Look who's cooking the food.
Interesting.
If they're happy, you're probably going to be happy when you're done with that.
That's interesting. And I've always wanted to be a chef. So I was going to go back to the culinary program at Scottsdale Community College.
Do it.
Unfortunately, there was an application process, and because of how I use the GI Bill, so the cycle, I would have missed it.
Oh, okay.
I wouldn't have been able to go. So I wanted to though.
Well, you can always do just classes.
Well, I'm going to a class on Monday.
Yes, you are.
So that's the thing, is like I want to learn how to build like the bases.
Good.
I can smoke meat and I can do all that good stuff, but I don't know how to make a roux or whatever the case is. I don't know how to make that type of stuff.
Oh, simple butter and flour.
I can make the food.
And we can do an infused roux with infused butter and flour. Super simple, 1-to-1 aspects. Let's go.
Let's go. All right, we're done. No,
We're done. We're out of here.
Yeah, we're gonna go start cooking. Use the shitty weed I have and go infuse it.
Oh, we could pull something off pretty fast. I'll be here for a few hours, but that's okay.
Have you ever infused with really good flour? Mm-hmm. And does that make a big difference?
Yes.
Okay.
You'll get a better flavoring. I've noticed when I do full infusions with flour, depending on the quality of it, I will actually get that flavor from it.
Okay.
Fully infused. So some will smell a little bit like the medicine and have a little bit of the terpene smell. Others will just smell super citrusy if it's very intense. I've had butter that smelled like oranges.
Yeah, okay.
I've had sugar that smelled like I used a Tangerine Dream for one of my sugars, and it just smelled like a fresh bowl of tangerines after the sugar was done. It was just amazing with that.
But you'll probably only get that with the really good flour.
Or concentrates.
So, okay.
If you have like a terp sauce and things like that, you can do it as well. But
gotcha.
When it comes just to the flour of the of everything, really, really good flour, you're going to get a better flavoring from. Whereas the bad flour, you're just getting, the whole point is just to get those cannabinoids out for the medical aspect and then using that.
Some people can say, oh, I taste this or I taste that, or just like a sommelier or, your buddy, your friend that likes IPAs and, he thinks he's, a hipster or whatever. I smell this. When I started smoking weed, it just all smelled like weed. When I was a cop and I smelled fresh weed, it all smelled the same. It had that real pungent odor that you could smell from
like a
5
skunk.
miles away. Right. But now that I'm more into it, I know I'm less sensitive to the actual smoke smell. If you're smoking, the smoke doesn't smell that pungent to me. But when I'm smelling the dry flower, the raw flower, I'm starting to be like, oh, it does. I smell like pine trees, or I smell like citrus, or something like that. I am starting to notice that. And I don't personally. I've juiced whenever I buy like an ounce at a time, and I've got just a little bit of extra. I'll put some in my shake, just the raw flour, for the THCA and all that side of it.
And you can still get benefits from that,
yes,
the THCA and the ones that are not activated, because you're just not activating the psychotropic aspects of it. But you'll still get some benefits from that.
But the flavor was actually good. Like I was like, I kind of like the flavor of this, I just, when it's not too overbearing,
right?
It was like just like 2 or 3 little nugs that I put in my juice, and I juiced it up real good.
So you're also getting the nutrients from the plant as well, not just the cannabis. I like that.
It is a healthy plant to ingest.
Yes,
like,
it is.
We should make salads with the leaves,
with the sun leaves. All that.
We should make salads with those leaves.
I would love to do that. I've done it a couple times. I've thrown them on my salads back in the day, but maybe I'll do that again.
Well, and now that everybody can grow at home,
right?
You can have leaves and stuff like that. So before you weren't allowed to even have the leaves or anything like that. So yeah, it's like a super tasty, flavorful, green leafy leaf.
And with those sun leaves, you don't have to worry about getting high off them either, because they're just there as solar panels to help the plant absorb everything for photosynthesis.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, I don't mind the flavor of weed at all. So
rock on. Some people do, and they're very particular too on that.
Okay.
So, masking is a big thing, or flavor pairing is a really big thing in the edible community.
Okay.
So like if you have a sweet or citrusy, going with baked goods that are sweet is the best route to go. If you have something that's piney or earthy, using it in like a stew or a smoked meat,
Okay.
something that'll help accent that piney, earthy flavor with your seasonings and the actual food you're using. It works great. Like when I do my cookies and my brownies, I'll throw a little bit of peanut butter and a little bit of chocolate syrup in there. Covers the flavor up almost every time, depending on how much I'm using.
Right.
So
There are some times, and I've had some edibles here where you eat it, you're like, ooh,
oh yeah,
this is straight grass. Like, it's not even weed, it's grass. But then I've had some that are the same brand. Again, maybe it's just that strain specific that maybe was really pungent to me.
or it could have been a high dose to a low dose.
Yeah, possibly.
Aspect too. I've had cookies that you couldn't taste it. Then I've had cookies that it tasted like eating the actual bud, and I'm like, okay, this is who wants this?
It's a little strong for me. Yeah, sometimes to get the accent flavor is good.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So I like to try to pair things with that.
Gotcha.
A friend of mine, the owner of Let's Get Baked, Kylie, she's also the one I'm doing the workshops with for the Veterans Give Back on the 22nd. She loves to pair flavors with cannabis and things like that for her foods. So
Gotcha. Interesting. So what's next for you? What's the goal?
the next one right now is get the book out, and then I'm going for Oklahoma City and Phoenix for the Cannabis Awards.
So on that note, right now, today's date is the 7th of January, so I'll hopefully get this out in the next 24 to 48 hours. There is voting going on.
For nominations for the Oklahoma, it's on Instagram, Oklahoma City Cannabis Awards Music Festival, and then same thing on Instagram, Phoenix Cannabis Awards Music Festival. Voting for nominations for the Oklahoma is until January 28th.
Okay.
And then February 28th for the Phoenix, the nominations will stop, and then the voting will start for who was actually nominated. And you can nominate every single day on Instagram, and you can DM them. And you can, once the voting starts, you can vote every single day, every 24 hours.
Now, you've won awards before. Correct?
Yes, I won
What?
Las Vegas Cannabis.
Boast. Yeah, come on now. Talk about yourself. Boast.
I don't ever really boast.
I know.
I won the Las Vegas Cannabis Awards for Best Male Cannabis Chef this last year in the summertime.
Awesome.
I was out there in July. So that was probably one of the best feelings I had last year standing on that stage. And I'll be going up against them, going up there again this year to try to reclaim my title for Best Cannabis Chef. For the Phoenix and Oklahoma, I'm going for Best Educator and Influencer as well. So we'll see what happens.
Gotcha.
Trying to get 3 awards this time around.
That's badass. Good luck on that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, we're about an hour in, a little over.
Sounds good.
You want to call it?
So yeah, make sure let's do this shout outs. I want to give a couple shout outs. First off, my sponsors at Apothecary 48 and Folium Farms, Nug Jewels, of course, Ruby Red Confections, and Satin Extracts. They are the 5 sponsors for Chef Turtle's Infusion Kitchen. CBD company, Grow House. With Nug Jewels, I actually have these turtles.
Looks
good.
good.
See them?
Yeah.
I sell them personally. You can only get them from me. They have real hemp inside them.
Nice.
It's after the RSO process, so there's no cannabinoids hurt in the making. Chef Patrick, he is, I don't know if he won yet or not, but he's in there for Orange County Cannabis Awards.
Okay.
Let's see. Shout out to the Mint. I've already said them. Shout out to Blue to Green for having me on.
Thank you. Thank you for coming on.
Oh,
Greatly
of course. And then we have a community give back we're doing monthly as well. So if this does go up in the next 24 hours, we have one this Sunday.
On the 9th.
On the 9th.
I might get released on Sunday. So,
but that's okay. And we'll be doing them all the time.
Okay.
We've actually teamed up with Tom's Palms. Huge shout out to them. And I do a couple things with the Hempful Farms. Well, they have
real quick. Explain that give back.
So the community give back that we're doing is we're basically just helping feed and clothe anybody that's in need, whether you're homeless or you're just struggling really bad. We put on these events. We have a bunch of clothes that are donated. We cook food on the grill and hand it out to folks. Some of them we get barbers to come out and do haircuts for free. Everything is for free for the community.
Gotcha.
We do it all on our own dime. So we just want to make sure that because we have stuff, we want to help others that gain things that are a little less fortunate, could use the help. We could all use help in different areas of life. So we want to be that group that helps out and show others. Let's do it. And we're also cleaning up the park at the same time of every event that we do. So we have a cleanup crew that goes out and picks up all the trash all around.
Is it going to be at the same place every month, or is it going to
No,
move
we
around?
switch it up so that way we go to different areas, different neighborhoods, and hit different sections of the town.
Gotcha. Very cool.
This one will be at Salito Park on 35th Ave and Campbell.
Okay.
So
Very cool. There's plenty of parks that need help.
yes,
So
and there's only so many of us. So the more people we can get involved,
Okay.
the better, and the bigger we can grow. I would actually like to see it go from one event a month to 4 events a month. One in the North Valley, one in the South Valley, one in the East Valley, one in the West Valley.
Well, this is where dispensaries and the community, the cannabis community, can step up.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
And again, we're just starting, so we're growing quickly
Good.
now. But yeah, any more shout outs? I've got a lot. I could just keep running off, but I think we'll close out.
Leave us with some words of wisdom.
Don't beat yourself up, especially if you're just starting out. Just keep focusing on what you can control. And if you got a lot of stuff that's out of your control, just focus on the little things: breathing, eating, drinking some water, redirecting that mind until you can refocus. And best advice, don't beat yourself up too bad, because you're going to be your own worst critic. And I've done it too many times to myself.
That's some sound advice. And I can say that I've known you for about a year now, and you are legit and you are genuine. And I've learned that you are there for other people and you mean what you say.
Thank you. My word is my bond, and that's all I got in this world. So I want to make sure if I say something, I stick to it. Awesome. And that's how I was raised. And always be there for others. Help somebody else out if you can.
Amen. Well, again, thank you very much for coming on.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me. It's been an honor.
Let me get all this stuff turned off here. Give me one second.
Awesome.